our session on building a portfolio of a citizen developer. And joining us today, we have two Microsoft Cloud advocates, where they'll be taking us through who is a citizen developer, help us understand what do we mean by this term, like who is a citizen developer and how you can be able to build a portfolio as a citizen developer. And our two speakers, we have Ola, a senior cloud advocate at Microsoft, and we also have Someleze Diko, a cloud advocate also at Microsoft. So at this juncture, let me just hand over to Someleze so that he can take over, and then later on invite Ola to take over the second part of the session. So over to you, Diko. Hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, Shadrach, I can hear you clearly. Uh, Thank you so much for having us for today's session. And we really appreciate having the session to actually obviously share some knowledge around how to become a citizen developer, and obviously how citizen developers are actually rising or are in demand in today's age. So, like Shadrach has mentioned, my name is Someleze Diko, and I'm cloud advocate at Microsoft for the Power Platform, AI, M365, and Fusion development, mainly focused on the student audience. Ola is also part of my team as well, so we're in the same team with him, reporting directly to Lee Stott. He focuses on a different subset, so I'll let him speak about that as we carry on with the session. So, in terms of how you can actually build a citizen developer portfolio, so for me, to be honest, in terms of my journey around the Power Platform, so firstly, we would need to understand what is a citizen developer. So when I was learning about the Power Platform, this word citizen developer would constantly pop up all the time whenever I am reading resources or I'm watching videos. And I was still a student at the time, so over and over again, I'd hear this word citizen developer, citizen developer. So what is a citizen developer? Because I was very curious around it. A citizen developer is actually someone who does not have a technical background, but they want to use technology to actually build solutions for any business requirements they have, or any requirements they have from the university, or personal requirements, or people who actually want to get into tech and build solutions and build a career out of it. So they don't have any programming background or programming experience from their background. They mainly, for an example, it would be someone who's coming from an HR industry, or someone who's coming from, let's say, a health department industry or security industry person. So security in terms of security guards and security companies within their industry. So that's what a citizen developer is. And then in terms of how you can actually build a citizen developer portfolio. So from my experience, what we have done, we have seen that the Power Platform actually offers a lot of people out there the opportunity to learn and grow by attaining the skills, or which are Power Platform skills. So if those people actually start learning about the Power Platform and actually start building solutions around the Power Platform, and obviously either, for an example, either provisioning them to specific companies, or if you are a student, you are building it within your university just for personal projects, and maybe you present it to your university if it solves a specific need. So let me give you just a small piece of advice in terms of um, how you can go about building a citizen developer portfolio. In my case, I come from a programming background, but obviously I started with the Power Platform. So as a citizen developer, you are normally looking at low code, no code tools where you can build solutions for whatever requirement that you have, either a business requirement or a requirement for your personal project. I always talk about personal projects almost regularly because it actually is important when you're building your portfolio. So let's get into that. When you are going down the path of being a citizen developer and you want to actually build a portfolio around that, I'm not saying even if you're a professional developer or you have coding background, you can't be a citizen developer. You can be, but you can also obviously use your professional developer skills onto building specific solutions around the Power Platform. So obviously, I'll be talking more about the Power Platform here instead of other low-code, no-code tools, but you can use others as a citizen developer. So you are a student at a university, and what happens at the university most of the time, you are learning whatever traditional education that you are given by the university education material, and how to actually get into becoming a citizen developer, in which it also speaks to my journey as well, is to actually, for an example, the Power Platform is a great tool for you to actually learn and attain skills on, where you can use the Power Platform to build solutions without writing any code. But I do not want to sell that part off because you do not write any code, you can use the Power Platform. The main advantage of using the Power Platform in terms of becoming a citizen developer actually stems from you building solutions that solve a specific business requirement. What do I mean, or how do I mean this? I mean this because within universities, most of the time, they either have a dedicated department to build solutions for the university, and most of those solutions are externally facing, right? So they are being used by people who are trying to gain access to the university website who are not from the university, or people who are trying to gain access on different solutions that are provided by the university. So how can we actually do this in terms of you becoming a citizen developer is that through the Power Platform, when you build the solutions for your university, because you're a student, you build those solutions for your university around the Power Platform. And for an example, let's say you built a COVID-19 app. So they do health checks using the COVID-19 app that you built using the Power Platform. And then that entire solution is being used internally by the university and the university students, so university staff and university students. You build projects like those within your university and providing support to your university through those solutions that you built. And what would end up happening is that it actually adds into your portfolio or to your profile. So each time, let's say for an example, you build a solution, either you can add it on LinkedIn and start talking about what you have built by writing either blogs or articles. I have seen one great example of this being done by Rachel Irabo, who writes great articles around the things that she actually learns. So this also now speaks to the second key thing in terms of how you can actually build a citizen developed portfolio. So by documenting the things that you are working on personally, either around the Power Platform or any other low code, no code tool, you then are adding into your so you are then able to add into your portfolio or into your profile in terms of what are you working on. You are showcasing the skills. Why is this important? This is important because I can talk about the experience we have in South Africa is that a lot of companies within South Africa are hiring around Power Platform skills. And the biggest issue is that there isn't any talent, or there isn't any graduates or students that actually have the skills. So now they need to try and end up gaining that workforce from, let's say, for an example, either in the UK or in the US. And then what would then happen within the country is that students, obviously there's youth unemployment. So those graduates do not have employment, but now the only issue is where we see it is that students are looking for employment and they're saying there's no employment, no jobs, nothing. Then there is the industry perspective where they are saying they are trying to employ people around the Power Platform, but they can't really find that workforce within South Africa because they don't have those skills. So through building this portfolio by writing articles or blogs, documenting what you're learning around the Power Platform or any other local no-code tools, and also doing specific projects within your university actually builds up your portfolio so that it actually ends up creates recognition or creates some visibility to those industry people or industry companies that are looking to employ you around the Power Platform. How do I know this? I actually know this because when I was still a student, so this was sometime last year, still a student at my university, what had happened was I was just learning whatever material that I was getting from the university. And then I transitioned into obviously learning about the Power Platform in 2020 and 2021 as part of the Microsoft Learn Student Ambassadors program and the new skills that I was trying to attain for myself, other than what I'm learning in the university. Then there came an opportunity where I saw within South Africa that there were companies that were employing for Power Platform developers, Power BI specialists, and all sorts of jobs that were there. And I'd see that there's so little applicants that are trying to apply for that job. So I took the opportunity to apply for that. And when I applied for the job, during the interview, what I just spoke about would come up from the company itself. They'd speak about they can't find anyone within the vicinity of South Africa of how they can actually employ these people because they know nothing about the Power Platform. And then the next thing that they will talk about, they say how they actually got to see that I was a good candidate was because of the portfolio that I built for myself. So the portfolio that I actually built was actually around the blogs that I was talking about. I was writing blogs around documenting the things that I've learned, the projects I did for the university using the Power Platform. Again, the Power Platform is for internal use only or inter-organizational use. Those specific projects that I was building gave me a competitive advantage over other candidates. Then the third part was me being a student and also a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, advocating for the Power Platform. That would be stuff like doing YouTube videos on a YouTube channel, talking about whatever new feature comes from either Power Apps or Power Automate. So three things that you would look at in terms of building that citizen developer portfolio is one, which is very important, documenting whatever learnings that you have in your journey around low code, no code tools, even if you are using those low code, no code tools alongside your professional developer tools. Secondly, that would be building projects within your university. Find an opportunity where you can see that you can provide some form of support to your university through building that solution and either present it to them. So I'm not saying if you go to the university and you try to look for a problem in terms of asking someone who is a higher up within the university, what you can do in this case is to just whatever process that you as a student is already exposed to, you can try mimic, not even entirely, but mimic whatever issues that you have with the existing system within the university, build that, and then go present something to the university so that they can see what you are talking about and they can see that you've already applied your knowledge that you've gained. Right. So that's the second part. And then the third part, if you are a person that is exposed to YouTube channels and you guys have YouTube channels, for an example, in this case, we have the user group for the Power Platform in Kenya, or you have any Power Platform or any other user group within your own country, be sure to always involve yourself in those user groups or any organization that has a YouTube channel talking about technology to take initiative of the learning so that you can be able to teach others, one, two, also teaching yourself. So what most of the time industries look at is, are you able to apply the knowledge that you say you have to yourself, and are you also able to apply this knowledge by showing other people? Because a lot of companies look at you build a solution around the Power Platform now once they've hired you, but will you be able to train their clients in terms of using that specific solution? So that was one of the things that I was exposed to. Build a solution with the Power Platform, then after that, train their clients on how to use the solution, explain whatever things that I need to explain and show them around the solution itself. And then obviously I can create some form of content that would actually give them assurance that this is how you do something. Obviously, a lot of people sometimes would have short-term memory. So if you have those three major things on my personal experience with building a citizen developer portfolio, then you would have a great start. And I know that Ola has actually more advice around that. So I'll let him add on how you can build your citizen developer portfolio on top of the things that I've already spoken about. Ola, over to you.
Sorry guys. Hi Sumelis. Can you just give me a time? I'm trying to transfer from my phone to my PC, which I'm doing in a couple of.
Yeah, we can, no problem. We can wait for Olaruwanju to come back.
I think I'm done now. I'm done
Yes.
transferring. Thank you. It's
No
just for
worries.
me to be sure my mic is working well. Okay, and my video. All right. Good afternoon. I mean, it is almost evening time in Kenya. In Nigeria, it's still pretty much afternoon, past 3. Can I confirm that you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Ola.
Thank you very much. So, thanks, Sumelis, for sharing your thoughts on this important topic. And I'm going to tell you why it is important. It is important because this topic actually changed my own career. And I will quickly like to run you through. I was thinking is a Twitter space session, to be honest. The last minute, like 5 minutes to the start of this session, when I realized it's on Teams. So I still want to share a slide, which I didn't. So in case you see some error there, I'm just going to speak through them. So thank you, Sumelis, for sharing your story. And this really means a lot because right now we will see why there is a gap. There's a huge gap in Africa because there is an evolution of a new industry. In every 100 years, every century, there's a redefinition of job. What used to be banking in the 100 years ago is not the same thing an accountant does today. They do banking operations, but much more with other activities because technology has come in to change the way job is being done. We're already experiencing similar thing. So today my agenda is about tech evolution and starting a career, but not starting a career is building a citizen developer portfolio. And I always like to walk people through this thing that you see on my screen to show them how technology has evolved, how the world in itself has evolved over the years. It's about the Industrial Revolution. And as you can see on the screen, there were seasons where the world was inventive as a society. The average GDP of the world was poor. Even US was doing less than $200 billion. Everywhere, people were poor. People were inventing things, but people were poor. It is an innovative society that people were rich because innovation is invention plus organization. So people were able to build products and services from what has been invented. And, we started having the industry wave. And what I want to bring out here is we're already moving to a next wave in terms of industry. So you've been hearing about Industry 4.0 or, something outside that. But in terms of reality, we're in a season where people thrive through accumulated capability. What that means is you have a degree, you study something in university, cool. But what else can you do after that, outside that? So an accumulated capability makes you to be able to do much more than just a single thing, and you become much more valuable. Learn how to use these technologies and use them for yourself. And this changed my career for myself. I'm just quickly going to run through this and what is changing now and why you need to build a citizen developer portfolio or the rise of citizen developer. We've seen centralization and decentralization of systems. A lot of things today, we just want to centralize them. Democratization of skill. The software development is no longer for skilled software developers. We have citizen developers today who can actually build solutions, build app, build websites. So you don't really need to be a core developer like before you can do this. Redefinition of standards. Quality is changing what used to be standard. Imagine the phone you were using 5 years ago. That phone used to be of high standard to you, but today it's no longer because technology is changing everything every year. Very soon, iPhone 14 will be out and 13 will be obsolete. On and on like that because technology is really changing what standard is and it's changing what job is as well. Then a new record in speed of delivery, which you can see. Things that used to take us days before, we want it almost hours. We want almost minutes, in fact, immediately. If you make a transfer, you want the money to reflect almost immediately because technology is changing how things work. And this is just to let you know that the new wave we are moving into is called the second wave of digital transformation, where citizen developer will have a very, very strong advantage. And these are the things that characterize it. People something because you can build an app under 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, and have it ready. Unlike embarking on months of the app development project using the core programming concepts, and team. The standards, the skills is being democratized daily. So let's quickly check through this. In 2020, Microsoft released this chart and scrolled through LinkedIn and said in the next 6 years, there's going to be 149 million new jobs in the digital 149. And out of this 149, you can see the breakdown. 98 million is software development. As you can see, in Nigeria, where I am right now, we've lost many software developers, to Europe, because there is drought right now. People were looking for software development skill. Why? Because today we have 25 skilled software developers, and it took the world 40 years since the dot-com bubble till now to raise 25 million skilled software developers. So how do you provide 98 million new software developers in the space of 6 years? Practically impossible for the world. And that is to show you that, okay, when they can't get these skills, so what's just happening now is they couldn't raise enough. They're just coming to Africa to bring the skillful guys and take them to Europe and the developed nations. And Africa then is not at the advantage side because most of our services are suffering now because there are no skilled people to look after them. Not to even talk of developing new solutions. So right there, 98 million achieved. And that is why we need people who can use low-code, no-code solutions to actually solve that problem because it's about the problem. It is not about just software development, it's about who can solve this problem. So whatsoever you can use to solve it and it's well addressed, that's okay. If someone is programming in Java and you use Power Apps to create similar solution and it's functional, so why do we have to insist that we must get a Java developer? And there is no way they can even insist because you will never get those. You can't match up 98 million software developer. And how will the world then augment this number? It's through citizen developers, which is local developers. That is who you are and who you are building yourself to become. I went online to check average and medium salary on Glassdoor and the other popular job posting sites. And you see, they're not doing bad. Of course, these data are speaking to US, but of course, as we continue to evolve, you see better pay, better increase in this part of the world. So what does it mean? I think my slide is not arranged. I don't really wish to run through this particular slide. So let me move here. Pardon me. So let me just come here and speak. Like I said, I didn't prepare slides. I just went through previous slides, see if I can put up something. But this is what I want to talk to you about today. If you want to build a citizen developer portfolio, you are not building portfolio for yourself. You are building it for a recruiter. So what recruiter want to see? That is the question. What do they want to see? So it's not just learning. Are you learning exactly what a recruiter will be looking out for when they are doing their recruitment? So I went online and I'm still working extensively on a write-up, an article or a learning part that can help address this topic well. So I went online and started searching. I went to different websites. I went to LinkedIn. What Power Platform developer? What are the job roles? What are the skills in demand? What do they need them? When they are posting job for Power Platform developer, what are recruiters looking out for? And these are the things that I to bring out of from that engagement. And the reason why you should pay attention to this is whenever you are building a project, try to see how you can demonstrate these things in your project. For example, you built a Power Apps that consume data from Excel. Good. You build a Power Apps that consume data from SharePoint Online. That is something that worth showcasing. As you can see, there's SharePoint Online here. So when you are showcasing, and how do you showcase? Once you are done with that apps, you do a simple 1-minute video recording of your screen. You can use Camtasia, you can use Screencast-O-Matic, you can even use PowerPoint. PowerPoint has a screen recorder in itself. Windows have screen recorder, so you just need 1 minute or 2 minutes max. And what are you doing there? Record your screen. Talk through that solution. Oh, this solution can do this. This is data source that I'm using in SharePoint, and this is the UX. I'm going to create new item. I'm going to solve. These are the things I use in this app. Just that 1-minute demonstration of what the app can do. Go online, post it on Twitter. Maximum length of the video on Twitter is 2 minutes to 20 seconds. Post it there. Post it on LinkedIn. Because if you are not comfortable to write a long article where you are sharing screenshot and everything, how you do it, walk through the solutions, you've built it. You have demonstrated that it works with SharePoint Online. Now, that is not the end. How about Dataverse? Dataverse is also very important. So when you are learning strategically. Oh, let me learn how to build a simple app with Dataverse. Oh, what aspect of Dataverse? Is it Dataverse for Teams? Because within Microsoft Teams, you can build a Dataverse, Power Apps with Dataverse for Teams, and it's free within organization. Many organizations want to take advantage of that. So do you want to demonstrate that? Or let me build this app. If you don't know how to do it before, consume videos online, build a project towards it. And the same way I've explained, go back to LinkedIn, share. What you're trying to demonstrate is building apps, using Microsoft Teams, Dataverse for Teams. You have demonstrated that skill. You have something to show for it. Move on again, Microsoft Forms. How can you relate forms to your knowledge of form in Power Platform? Oh, I created a simple flow. When you fill a form, Power Automate will take the response from the form and drop it on the SharePoint list, and also send the message, maybe adaptive card, to Microsoft Teams. That simple flow solution, build it. Record your screen, less than 2 minutes. Put it out there. Again, that is how you build a portfolio that is addressing recruiters' needs and not just learning. Dynamics 365, wow. A lot of people are asking for, because the strength of Power Platform in some cases is actually how you can extend Dynamics 365, be it CRM, be it anyone. So how can you have this kind of knowledge? Dynamics 365 license is not common. It's not like Microsoft 365 developer account that you can create. But how can you demonstrate knowledge of this? Cool. One of the things is take the learning part on Microsoft on the Dynamics 365. I think that's MB 900 that talks about. So they are two now. Before it used to be maybe MB 900 for Dynamics 365. I think it's MB 910, something like that. We have CRM and we have ERP, but they're all Dynamics and just two different learning parts. It's fundamental. That thing is not hard. Fundamental is just to expose you to the technology. If all you can do is to showcase that I have MB 910, and you could not, because you don't have license, you cannot do so much to showcase, but at least you have that certification. That shows you have knowledge of it. Azure, you have the opportunity. It's not to replace thing with Azure, but do you know, for example, a Z900 shows you introduce you to the cloud, the infrastructure as a service, the platform as a service, the software as a service, what are resource group on Azure, and you can even follow some learning path to create a resource group and all those things. As you can see, you are already building an experience that is really relevant in the workplace. And these are the keywords and things that a Power Platform developer recruiter will be looking out for. So if you have been busy learning and you are not really learning towards this kind of point, then of course at the end, a recruiter is not yet complete, because what they can resonate with is, do you know Dataverse? Do you have anything to prove that you have worked with Dataverse before? How about SQL? In another case, for SQL, I've built solutions in the past. You can use, and that speaks to understanding and manage data gateway. You can build a project that showcase data gateway. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have a course on Udemy that I built, that I did on Udemy, 15 plus business use case of Power Automate. And everyone on this call, free voucher to that course. It's $50 per course, but I'm going to give everyone free voucher. And you see in that course, I think in the 14th use, I demonstrated how to fill a form, Microsoft form, and Power Automate will take that form, take the responses, and put it on a database, SQL database. That kind of solution, if you replicate it and also share, because we have the knowledge now, you know that, oh, when you fill a form, I can use Power Automate to connect to SQL database or any form of database. And you have that small video again and showcase. Rachel Iraboda, Somalis talk about, that's the same thing she used to do. Anything she learned, she just go out there and showcase it. I learned this, I learned that. And she was learning towards this case. It's not just to learn. So understanding and managing data gateways. Do you know how to install data gateway? I did this in the video. I showed how to install it, run it on your local server. If you get a workplace and they have a server, let them install it there for you and sign in with the email you want to use to run your solution. But you have demonstrated the knowledge of data gateway. Application lifecycle management, you don't necessarily need to understand everything, but you can take 1 or 2 videos online on YouTube. You see someone talking about this. And once you take the video, just go take the screenshot or that the most important part that you think talks about those features of ALM. Paste it in. Today, I watched the video. This is the link to this video. I now have this understanding. I understand what ALM means for Power Platform. I understand the advantage and list them there. You have showcased that you have an experience and knowledge of application lifecycle management. Center Excellence Toolkit. What is this? It's a governance solution for Power Platform. So you are just building apps. When you get to a workplace, people are building apps, we are using Automate, building a lot of things, Power Virtual Agent. But how do we manage them? Do we know that maybe someone is exceeding the license limit? How do we know, how do we restrict and govern the kind of connector people can use? That is Center of Excellence Toolkit. In the past, it's always difficult to set it up, but today it's not, because there are video resources that guide this how to set it up, this is what to install. You don't know the requirement until you try, you don't know it until you've demonstrated it. So for example, the video guide, use Microsoft 365 developer account. In my previous workplace, that's what I did before I even implemented it there. I used my developer account. I went through the video resources. I created the trial environment. Then I started installing the components, was following video to do the configuration. When I was done, I see, okay, this is it. Then I was sure. When I wanted to implement, I told my tech team, I need this license, I need this, I need that, because I know that I need those things. Well, if you can do that kind of thing and demonstrate, that you are no longer even a junior guy, because you just said you understand that, yes, I have this understanding. What you just need now is more experience doing it. And every recruiter will be so much happy. Now, the last one here is understanding pricing. License, there's a video from Reza Durrani, is my friend. I can get that across to you guys. It's a live session with Power Platform team that talks about licensing. So you don't necessarily to do so much. If you attend that you watch that video on YouTube, that screenshot that take it. Either 2 or 3, take it, go on LinkedIn, share the image and talk and type some text. Today, I explore licensing in Power Platform. This is your key takeaway from there. These are the licenses that are available, all those just talk about them and post. You have literally set up yourself for success. The recruiter that goes through your profile, it's easier because they see everything we need. This guy is actually this fit. And the last thing I've talked about is certifications. I think I have a slide that, this slide is not up to date as well, but ahead. Very soon, make sure Ignite will be there. If you have not done PL 900, go ahead and do it. I have PL 900. I have at least about 12 Microsoft certification exams, even before joining Microsoft. Since I joined Microsoft, I've not done a new certification exam. But before I joined, they saw my certification. Wow, it was this guy, we want him. So certification way to also put confidence to what you know. If you've done all those projects, you can see those things I've listed there, any project that demonstrate all these things, if you do them, it will be much more easier to write this certification. PL 900 is very PL 100, if you beat 1 or 2, 3 halves, especially that demonstrate all these things, you will write PL 100, you will write PL 200. PL 300 is data analysis, so you need to learn Power BI to be able to showcase that. PL 400 developer, it could be a bit technical, but you need to prepare well for it because it's the vision development of Power Platform. Meaning, if you are coming from a developer side, pro code side, you code Java in any form of programming language, you understand those concepts of Visual Studio connectors, but it's not a must. We have PL 500, which is Power Automate Desktop. It's RPA. Is the RPA certification. I haven't updated this when I was putting it. Was not even live when I put this slide back then. Well, that's PL 500, and we have PL 600. Which is Power Platform Solution Architect. You don't need to have all the certifications, but have the fundamental and maybe have PL 100 and PL 200. One is talking about app maker, yes. Another is saying you are a functional consultant, meaning you can actually, know what it takes to do requirement elicitation, even though, there's the exam did not really emphasize on the BA part, but as a functional consultant, you can do requirement elicitation, you can assess the needs well enough, and you can also plan how the solution what component can address or the problem in the business. So as you can see, even if you are not even PL 200, PL 100, yeah, PL 900 is free. AZ 100 is free. MB 910, MB 920, or MB 900 is free. As your student's license for students, these fundamentals exams are free for students. If you've not seen it, there's a post by Bethany Jepchumba, on Microsoft blog community that talks about how to activate that. If you haven't, we can share that with you at the end of this session. Time is not on my side. I also apologize. I didn't prepare so much. Not at all. I was thinking it's a Twitter space that people were asking questions, but otherwise I would have done so much about my slides. So we can take questions now, and I appreciate your patience and understanding. Did I miss out? Am I still on this call?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so Meleze, do you still have, or let me just hand over and then you just hand over back to me?
No, you can go on ahead, Shadrach.
Oh, okay. So I'm just trying to see the comments here in the on the chat window, and they're just incredible comments from Kellen saying they can just add Power Platform as a skill set for better opportunities. And then there is a question about how do we access the Udemy course that you had mentioned earlier on.
Yeah, so I'll get to you, or Laura. Laura has been engaging with me on Teams. I will send the coupon, the code you will use, the link to the course, and the coupon and code you will use to activate it after this session.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, sure. Okay, we still have another question from Derek. How is a typical day at Microsoft? Perhaps you shall you can answer that.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to share mine, and thanks so much. I see you've shared in the chat area. So Microsoft is a very big organization and is a destination employer, meaning most time when people get there, you spend considerable number of years when working because everything you actually need, they're mostly there. especially alignment. If your goal is to make more money, you can continue to be working and be making that more money. If your goal is to align with your interest, maybe your passion, you can find it there. For example, all I'm doing is my passion. Everything I do at Microsoft today is what I was doing while I was working as a data management officer. And today I'm being paid to do same thing. So, I mean, you can see that. So because it's very big, there are lots of roles at Microsoft. There are product, there are engineering, there are customer advocacy, there are people that do sales, there are accounting, there's HR, there are a lot around diversity, there are a lot around well-being. So we have several roles, but let's speak to my role as a cloud advocate. Cloud advocacy means means evangelism. Let me put it that way. So cloud advocate evangelism. You are literally advocating for a product that you believe so much in and you have knowledge of. So, and we are the bridge between the customers and the product engineering team. So this guy build this engineering product, they build those services. We understand the service, we can use them. Then we go out there to the customers and show them what they can do with it and support them in learning. And if there are feedback from them, we take it and go back to the engineering team and say, our customers are actually having issue using this particular tool, and these are their challenges. The engineering team will then work on it and make updates, and it's working. So typically for me, I have lesser meetings with them because ours is centered around three things: welcome, guide, connect. But let's talk about content, community, and feedback. In my role, I create content. So on my YouTube channel, on my LinkedIn, blogs, just like so many also do, all of us, we create content that can help people. My content centers around data analysis using Power BI because I have worked in that capacity in the past as a data analyst, business intelligence analyst. I've worked as a data scientist. I've built machine learning data in production. So I also create content around machine learning and data science. I have worked as Power Platform adoption specialist. I drove it in the entire organization. I supported other entities in Egypt, in Madrid, and even in UK while I was still working in my previous organization. So I have experience as a Power Platform developer. So I create content around Power Platform as well. And as content, we create content, and not just content, community. So you don't just create content, you create content around community engagement. And that is why we do a lot around student community. On your meetup, organized learning engagement like the Geo that Bethany put together, learning content towards a community. That's Game of Learner. We have 30 days of learning that we did in Nigeria last couple of months. That saw a lot of people learning and consuming those content we have created, and we have feedback. So community, content, feedback. Feedback is we want everything you use today in Microsoft Teams or any other Microsoft services. It's not because an engineering team and I just building it. No, it's because people are giving feedback and saying, I need this, I need that. So we actually take feedback and we want diversity. So as a student, if you are using a tool and come across challenge, engineering challenge. So there's a learning gap and there's a product gap. So if it's a learning gap, then you need a learning resource that will point you how to do it. There's a product gap. For example, you are building something in Power Apps and a particular connector is not working. And you've tried to repeat it, you see that it's the connector that seems to have issue. So you can report that. And we will take it and contact the engineering team and they will do that and they will fix it. So that's how we improve what you see and consume every day. So for me, aside meetings, I speak in events like I'm doing right now so that I can create more awareness about this Power Platform. I plan events that can help students to learn and be exposed to these technologies. I also find ways to support their communities through mentorship and lastly, feedback from the community. That's how my typical day actually looks. For today, I've not done any meeting aside this, but I'm working on some products. I'm working on some event that I'm planning in the coming days. I don't even have a meeting at all today, but I'm working on student summit, on other engagement that we're having that is coming up. So, of course, Sumelis can also share his own experience as well.
Technically, my experience and also my day at Microsoft is similar to Ola's day at Microsoft. Just like you said, if you are not in meetings, we are normally doing speaking engagements. So, for an example, like events, just like you mentioned, we'll be speaking at events, talking about the Power Platform, raising more awareness. Mostly, we are doing this for the African content most of the time because we are trying to expose a lot of students within the continent. Obviously, we are from Africa and we're trying to upskill students within the African region as well. So we do those events, and from there, we are also obviously in some cases, like he mentioned, we focus on content, community, and feedback, like he mentioned, and also we get an opportunity to do work on certain stuff. So, for an example, just like Power Pages, Power Pages was recently released by Microsoft at Build during May at the time. So that was like a few months ago, and it's a new product. So obviously, we can't just say, here's a product, you guys play around with it. We actually start using the product itself, and then obviously then show you, give you like a few guidance here and there by releasing that content or those blogs around how you can use Power Pages. So for an example, there's a blog I wrote after playing around Power Pages, and then I then released it so that everyone else can see and take advantage of Power Pages. So just like Ola says, most our typical days are just similar to what he actually spoke about. And I also see a question from Kellen. So if you are part of the Power Platform, right? You don't necessarily need to be speaking like at all time. So for an example, in our situation where it's Ola and I, we are both cloud advocates and it's around the technologies that we focus on. So most of the time we're doing speaking engagements and all sorts of stuff. But if you're a Power Platform developer, in which obviously again, Ola and I have also been in those roles before joining Microsoft, in some cases, you don't necessarily need to be doing speaking engagements. Most of the time, you are actually building solutions for the clients of that specific company that you're employed in. So if you get employment as a Power Platform developer at a local company where you're from, normally they would focus on building solutions either internally for their own processes or solutions for their clients. So you don't necessarily have to speak. But if you are working for a company from that's similar to the one that I was working for before I joined Microsoft, then in some cases you might end up speaking because you need to train the clients around the solution, because obviously some companies want to see if you know what you built and you know what you're talking about. So it's not always speaking. It depends on which role you are that you've taken up on in regards to the Power Platform. If you're a cloud advocate at Microsoft for the Power Platform, then in that case you do a lot of speaking and also a lot of blogs and obviously some developing. And then obviously if you are a Power Platform developer from a different company, then you don't do any speaking engagements or a little number of speaking engagements. If you are part of Microsoft and you are in the Power Platform product team, it's not necessarily focused on speaking engagements, but it's mostly focused on developing the product, enhancing the product, and making it better from the feedback that Ola was talking about that they get from cloud advocates. So the product teams actually focus on making the product better, and the engineering teams as well. So if you join Microsoft and you're part of the engineering team and the product team, most of the time you might not do any speaking engagements, but you are not limited. You can do it if you choose to do those speaking engagements in terms of speaking at conferences, if you want to step out of your comfort zone. Yeah, I saw a hand up, so I'm not too sure if it's still up. Kevo? Also, I don't know if Ola you saw on the chat, there is Joanne who is talking about online courses. So whichever tech field are all platforms embraced? That is, does the platform one get certifications from Meta, or does it have to be Coursera or Udemy to be considered credible?
Okay, if I can speak to this, so there are two things here. There is a course and there's a certification. You can take courses on different platforms. You can go on YouTube and take courses there on Udemy, Coursera. Those ones are courses. However, Udacity, Coursera offer nano degree programs. Those ones are specialization programs. But certifications are not courses. Certifications validate the skill you've acquired. So if you complete a course, yeah, you can share, the course, but that is not a certification. Certification validate and test the knowledge of a skill. It helps to validate that the knowledge you have has been transformed. When you take a course, the least you get from a course is knowledge. And there is no way to validate that you've gotten a skill from a course. You can get knowledge from it. But certifications will validate that has been transformed or translate to skill, because skill is what recruiters are actually looking out for. And through certification exams, you are being tested to say, oh, if this person can pass, then this person has been able to translate the knowledge he or she has to skill in this area. So online courses, yes, take them any platform just to acquire more knowledge and practice so that you can translate the knowledge to skill. But to then call the public attention that I have this skill now, certification will do that for you. And I hope this is clear.
Okay, I also had a question about like building projects on Power Platform. So now, like for instance, bearing in mind that Power Platform projects are mostly organization-based problems, or like fixing a problem that an organization faces. So, which is the best option to build projects on Power Platform as my portfolio?
Great question. In the previous slide that I shared, which I think this question is so interesting because it's pointing to the direction students and people are now interested in really building a career in this space. This is it. You can use two approaches to this. Two approaches, rather. First, you can go, I'm going to share my screen once again. Where's my slide? You can build projects around this area. I think I'm already resume slideshow. Okay, around this area, you can build project that showcase. The project can be anything, but that showcase these things. Can you build any project that uses Dataverse? I don't care what the nature of the project. The fact that you can use Dataverse as your data source on a project, a recruiter is definitely going to get on you. You can build any project that consumes SQL as a database, be it Power Automate connected to SQL, be it Power Apps related to SQL, no matter the nature of the front end and functionality of that project. A recruiter will be so impressed that you can do that. If you can leverage your Microsoft Form creatively on a Power Platform project, I have used Microsoft Form as a learning management solution before. And in the course I'm going to assign and give to you guys, you will see how you can optimize Microsoft Form as an LMS just to deliver that learning experience. Is about the creativity. And use Power Automate and SharePoint at the back end to run some of those automation. That's interesting. And you're able to generate a PDF certificate once the person is done. That's amazing. If you can demonstrate that. That has connected to SharePoint Online, because you can build an app that consumes SharePoint Online, or use solution that talks to SharePoint Online. In any way, any project you do that is showing these things, that is a guide. Any way to demonstrate your knowledge of Dynamics 365, maybe you can use Power Automate to extend a functionality in Dynamics 365, or you can build model-driven app on Dataverse that can extend the functionality in Dynamics 365, or could be CRM or ERP. As you can see, if you are thinking of project ideas, it could be first from this angle. Any project, no matter the nature of the project, but that can help you showcase this skill, because from my talk, these are the things that recruiters are putting out there whenever they are looking for Power Platform developer. So irrespective of the of applications and solutions you are building, if they are not showcasing and demonstrating this skill, recruiter might not be able to still consider you, might consider someone else. So this is one approach. You can see I'm still working on an extensive document, resources that is where this and can put more context and project ideas on all of these guys. Another angle is what are the kind of project I can work on? Good. There are lots. For example, if it's HR, you can start from employee check-in. Many organizations today, when you get there, you still fill a form manually, to check in. You fill a form manually to check in. Can you build an app for that? That app can sit on Dataverse, can sit on SQL, can sit on Exec, can sit on SharePoint Online. 2, customer service center. I was at Egypt the last 3 weeks, and I met a guy who is doing amazingly well with Power Platform. He built an app that actually does customer service end-to-end solution, Power Apps, about 2 or 3 different apps. All the touch point of the customer, that when you go to your workplace, when you go to customer center, you see an app, a tab is Power Apps that is there, and on that tab you just put your name to check in. It record the time you logged in and put you on a roster on a very big screen, just the thing you see that some application on a very, very big screen. You see your name, you see where you are. When it's your turn, you will see it. And that same automation at the back end is reminding all the customer service, this is the next person in line, every every 1 minute, send a reminder, this guy is still waiting. After 5 or 10 minutes that you did not do anything, it's going to escalate to the manager. A customer has been waiting for 10 minutes, nobody's answering. And dashboard to track all those things end to end. That is solution. You can build things, Power Apps around learning. You can be an LMS, a Power that is doing that. Inventory management in an organization, these are solutions that are relevant. Inventory management, training, employee check-in, like appraiser. How do you appraise an employee? Submit your target, at the end of the maybe month or at the end of the year, you do appraisal. A lot of things. I don't want to take too much time. I can make a post around this and share a lot of in the workplace that I've done in the past, that I've seen people do. You might want to replicate. But to target recruiter, you should be sure that those solutions are actually speaking to these keys or demonstrating these things at the minimum. Thank you.
Just to add
thank you so much. It was insightful.
Yeah.
Yes,
just
go on,
to
Some.
Yes, just to add on to what Ola was saying, also another great way that you could do in terms of doing all of the solutions and all of these ideas that Ola has shared with you guys, what you can do, like we said, in terms of building this entire portfolio around being a citizen developer, again, I can't stress this enough. Always put yourself out there, document your learnings. So when you are documenting the project that you're doing, so for example, the projects that Ola was mentioning, you document them, you have a step-by-step guide on how to implement them. Each and every single time, whenever a recruiter is talking to you in terms of your skills around the Power Platform, you can just either forward them a link, or you provide that link during the interview, and they will see the amazing things that you are building. Around how they can actually reproduce the solution, what I love about the Power Platform in terms of, for an example, Power Apps and Power Automate, is that you are able to export both the Power App that you've built and also the Power Automate flow that you've built. You export it as a zip folder, and if you can create a GitHub account, and then you can have your solutions there. You have a blog that is a step-by-step guide, and within that blog, you can also provide the GitHub link repo onto that blog so that whenever someone is going through that solution or that step-by-step process, they know that they can find the resources at the end or at the beginning, pointing them to your GitHub repo where they can see the full solution, full working solution. Either they can work on what you already built or they built it for themselves from scratch. So basically that is one way, that is another way to add on top of what Ola was mentioning earlier on.
Okay, thank you so much. So I've seen you've shared the link to the Udemy course. Thank you so much. And the coupon code will be shared to Laura in the course of the week. So
No,
do we
I'm
have
going to
any
share
other
it
questions?
just after this program. After this call, I will share the coupon code with Laura via email, and she can broadcast to the attendants of this.
Okay. Do we have any other questions, comments, perhaps? Okay, just some kind of comments from Immaculate saying some very nice information. Thank you. And also from Laura, great explanations. Okay, and also from Stephanie. So we still have got around 24 minutes, so I'm just gonna give it back to you, guys. So I guess we're going to end this the call there, but this is just a calling to you that we normally hold our sessions as the Power Platform User Group Kenya. And how to join our group, let me just post the link here so that you can be able to get first-hand information about our next events. And in September, we have like couple of events for you guys. So, and just to get an insight of Power Platform in Africa, and also generally how you can get started as a Power Platform developer. So I have shared the link to join our group on the chat window. So feel free to share with your friends, join also the group, and from there now you can be able to get all these events that are happening and most of the insightful information. So I just want to take this time to thank Ola and Someleze for taking their time off their schedule to just join this call and share with us all the information that we need to have on how to build a portfolio as a citizen developer. And for the great insights, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward for another session with you guys. And yeah, that's it. So perhaps you can just give us the last comments, maybe. Ola, we can start with you, and then Someleze, and then we can close the session there.
All right. So my final word will be that the future is full of abundance. What do I mean? Huge opportunity lies ahead in the future, and the future is bright. You only need to take the future today. And what does that mean? Make up your mind and consistently build up yourself. Don't wait for opportunity. By preparing and by skilling up yourself, you're actually writing a note to opportunity. As a matter of fact, you are opening the door of opportunity for yourself. So what does this mean? Don't give up on skilling yourself. The way to a bright future is constantly skilling yourself and making sure that you are adding to whatsoever you do and belonging to a community. Community helps you. On your own, you can go fast. But if you need to go far, you need to go with a community. It's an African proverb. So this is why you shouldn't be far from this Kenya community as you continue to upskill and build up yourself. Thank you very much.
I think Ola has said what I also wanted to say. So normally I would use a very local language within South Africa that says Umtu ngumtu ngabantu, which is a person is an actual person based off of the community that they are from, meaning you are also sharing Ubuntu. So within South Africa, within Africa, Ubuntu is something that is commonly known, showing that whatever you do, you are always involving others as much as you are learning on your own to upskill yourself and give yourself opportunities and get all of those opportunities around whatever technology you're learning. Again, it's always great to give back to the community that you're from, to give others whatever knowledge that you already attained. That is a motto that I live by almost on a regular basis, that as much as I have the knowledge around technology, around the Power Platform, I want to also upskill others within the country and within the entire world so that they can also have similar opportunities that I've had, if not greater. Because again, umuntu ngumntu ngabantu. Community